listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
Big Q representing Tuff Tiger Talk. Shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all for being in this episode of Tuff Tiger Talk, man. We in this thing. Listen, man, a lot has been going on with the LSU Fighting Tigers, man, hitting the transfer portal to build up the team. Remember, family, the original ones, when we were able to get Joe Burrow and win that fantastic championship that year, man, we just ran through all the college football. A lot of that was done through the transfer portal. We were able to get Joey B. He was backing up quarterbacks in Ohio State. We got him down here, and the rest is history. Jaden Daniels was also another fantastic pickup for the Tigers, bringing him in among others. I mean, you could pick and choose, man. We've had some fantastic talent over the years that have brought us a lot of success in Tigerland. And listen, after an 8-win campaign in the regular season, we're getting ready to take on Baylor on December the 31st of this year in the Texas Bowl. What would be interesting, man, is that as LSU closes out the disappointing 24 season, 25 is looking pretty good. Coach Kelly's been under a lot of pressure. The family base has been really rough on him this entire season, and rightfully so. This is subpar LSU style football, man. Subpar to the highest level. I didn't anticipate this team being a championship team, but I thought they would be better than what they exhibited. So in the end, it was not what we wanted to be. They did close out the regular season getting wins against the Sooners and the Commodores, but the 3-game losing streak, the hideous loss to the Gators and all this kind of stuff, the Aggies loss, all that was tough. But in the end, Coach Kelly's not giving up. He agreed with the LSU Tiger family base, the support base, about him being a better coach and staff. And although they spent a lot of money on their coaching staff and recruiting, and then they lost Underwood, but in the end, remember how we got our Heisman quarterbacks were through the transfer portal, and they're not, resting on their laurels. As LSU's doing everything they can to build up its team coming into the 25 season. They still have a lot of really solid recruits that are still there besides Underwood, and the transfer portal, they're using it to really accentuate and build a stronger team. So with that being said, fam, let's just look into what's been happening with LSU, man. So far, shout out to the WhoDatDaily.com and the writer Milt Manningham, as LSU football contributor, writes on this here to give you an update on the transfer portal. Tigers are making a significant waves in the portal, bolstering their roster with standout players from across college football landscape. One of the most talked about additions was Michael Van Buren, dynamic quarterback transferring from Mississippi State, originally from St. Francis Academy, showcased his talents as a freshman in 24 at over 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns in 9 games. So he is a guy that can scramble, has a big arm. He's kind of, undersized. They're almost 6 feet tall, but his agility and precision and leadership to LSU's quarterback room as they look to solidify the upcoming offense. Now, we did hear that, Garrett Nussmeier is returning for another year. I don't know how to feel about that, even though they're really adding some really good weapons along with Nussmeier. So he'll be more seasoned, hopefully a smarter quarterback coming into it next year. But when they lost Underwood, that's Coach Kelly reached out to Nussmeier to kind of see if he want to come back to refine himself and build up for the year. He decided to come back. Now, we've yet to hear anything from Harold Perkins. Now, rumors are that he's thinking about coming back, but that's not official as of yet. So we're still waiting on his word or whether he'll go into the NFL. But LSU's, and then of course there are other things, when you add talent to the team, LSU just keeps on going. Now they did add some firepower with Jimari Butler, who's a rusher from Nebraska, 6'5", 260. He's a guy that played in 37 games with the Cornhuskers, 65 tackles, 17 tackles for a loss, and 7.5 sacks. So he's added to the defense. Also, they'd added a fantastic weapon in Barion Brown, who is a wide receiver from the University of Kentucky with a lot of speed there. He got he has over his totals of catches since he's been there, 122 catches for 15, 28, and 11 touchdowns. And he's one of these guys that have that breakout speed. So him coming aboard will be interesting. They also had added Jakeem Jackson, who's a versatile cornerback from Florida. He's about 6 feet, weighing about 180 pounds. A couple of years at Florida, had 11 tackles and 4 pass breakups, and then even did even more than that. As they kept it going, they added a tight end to kind of help out there. Bauer Sharp from Oklahoma. He had some size. The guy 6'5", 240 pounds, can catch and block, and will be called upon. And this is just a short little rundown of guys that they did add. The QB behind Nussmeier, the edge rusher, and Jimari Butler to kind of help out there. Baron Brown, the wide receiver, Jakeem Jackson, the cornerback, and Bauer Sharp. So there's a few people that LSU is adding to their team to kind of fortify some position there. And they're not even close to being done, man. They did add some more help as at wide receiver from what comes over from Florida State. Destin Hill commits to LSU. Florida State transfer Destin Hill is committed to LSU through the transfer portal, according to Sam Spielman of Rivals. Hill just finished his second season with the Seminoles. That comes after a 2-year difference from when he committed to when he enrolled at FSU. Still, he appeared in 10 games as a freshman, but missed all of the fall with a season-ending injury that he suffered during spring practice. In those outings last season, Hill had 6 catches for 87 yards. He entered the portal at the start of the cycle just over a week ago. He's now the 8th transfer addition for the Tigers. He comes in alongside of some of the guys I just talked about, let alone some receivers in the portal. We talked about Baron Brown. We talked about, which is the number 6 wide receiver there, number 14 in some polls. And then they also joined by, I just talked about Bauer Sharp, the cornerback Jakeem Jackson, quarterback Michael Van Buren, cornerback Mansour Delaney was another guy that was added, and defensive end Jack Pyburn from Florida, along with Jimari Butler. So they've added some people to the team, man, that are going to add some good depth and help LSU out. And some of these guys, to be honest with you, that the Tigers added, some of these guys are some ballers, man, to be honest with you. There's some ballers here that we got here. So we'll see what LSU got going, like, especially in the secondary game. Them adding some guys here with some experience to help out in the secondary game. Mansour Delaney, 6'1", 180 pounds, is a good addition to bring in here, along with some other players to kind of help out there. But like I said, man, LSU's doing a phenomenal job. Jakeem Jackson's another guy, 6 feet tall. So having Mansour and Jakeem there to help out the secondary. These are guys coming with experience from Virginia Tech and Florida. Baron Brown with all that speed coming over from Kentucky to help out to stretch the defense out. A fallback option, and Michael Van Buren if Nussmeier struggles or if he gets hurt. And then Destin Hill's another guy with good speed. And then you look at edge guys that they add in. Jack Pyburn, this guy is just a phenomenal high energy guy, also from Florida. You got Jimari Butler, a guy that comes over from Nebraska, who's an athletic freak with a lot of good experience there as well, and very productive. So these are good additions to LSU team coming into the 25 season to kind of help them do some positive things. So like we talking about, man, LSU's just building the culture and moving forward, man. And of course, like I said, one of the biggest questions outside is they continue to kind of move forward and see what they can do. Offensive line is another issue in the transfer portal. So 8 people there in the transfer portal. Now, LSU did miss out on some people they were looking at trying to land a safety at Zachary Poyser, who was a guy that they were looking at from Jacksonville State. He will take his talents to South Florida. He was being heavily pursued by LSU. He was a guy that just kind of, LSU missed out on, but according to them, they were saying that he was very high on their boards, but he elected to go where he went. So anyway, how do you guys feel, man? I'm not going to hold you too long in this episode, but kind of let me know how you guys feel about how the Tigers are doing in the transfer portal. We still know there's a lot to do. as well, because you're going to mesh this recruiting class along with the transfer portal together with the remaining players from 24 who will be here. Is that enough to kind of put us back in contention again? What do you think? How do you guys feel about Nussmeier coming back? Let me know. Put all that in the comments section below, man. And of course, I'm going to hit you up on the next episode of Tuff Tiger Talk. So with that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Tuff Tiger Talk, we end his thing. We'll be back in a few days with the preview for LSU and Baylor. There, we'll talk about all that and then some. With that being said, I'll be out of here. Much love and go Tigers.